Hello, this is Peter from Ultra Journeys. Welcome to a session on Alpine style hiking in the Sahyadris as part of All for Sports Decathlon. Let me start with a brief history on myself. I was born in Belgium. On the left side, you can see one of the annual summer holidays in the Alps in Switzerland. Thanks to my parents, I got early exposure to the mountains. And on the right side, on the beach in Belgium, where you can see that even from young age, I was pretty minimalist. Fast forwarding almost 2 decades, I came to India in '98 and started the Chennai Trekking Club, which over 10 years grew to a large non-profit volunteer-based organization organizing hundreds of outdoor and sports events throughout the years, triathlons, marathons, ultra races, hikes, biking trips, and more, and grew to 40,000 members. 4 years ago, in 2017, I quit the corporate world, basically had enough of 2 decades being locked up in a cubicle and started full-time running or fast hiking in the mountains. You can see pictures of a 700-kilometer run from Kashmir to Manali across the Rohtang Pass in 2016. Since then, I've been doing regular ultra journeys, long endurance journeys in the mountains, fast hiking or running. Started running thousands of kilometers in the Himalayas, Spiti Valley, Pangi Valley in 2015. Did a 2,000-kilometer run in Vietnam in 2018. And then in the summer of 18-19, covered some 160 high passes in the Himalayas, followed by climbing of 200 forts in the Sahyadris at the end of 19. Recently came back from a winter mission in 2021 in Uttarakhand and soon leaving again to Himachal for another 3 months mission over 2,000 kilometers to explore several remote places in Himachal. Okay, let's get started. Climbing 200 forts in October, November in the Sahyadris required quite a bit of planning. I wanted to do this as fast as possible, so could not do it randomly. Wanted to cover those 200 forts in just 2 months, which means I was climbing almost 5 to 10 forts every single day. I organized the 200 forts in 14 different regions or traverses, listed on the right side here. All the way from Nasik in the north to Mahabaleshwar in the south. We'll go in detail on every region a little bit later. If you look at the geography here of the Sahyadris in Maharashtra, so here you can see the spread of those 200 forts. Initially, I started with 4 traverses indicated in the yellow here, from Lonavala to Nanegat to the Bandardara range, then one other traverse is the Mataran range, and the 4th one was connecting from Pune all the way to Mahabaleshwar. So this was 4 traverses, 50 forts, where I could simply run between each fort through beautiful trails and forests, climb the fort and proceed to the next one. Additionally, I covered 10 regions here, indicated with a red circle, concentrated forts in one single region that I would cover with a bike, commuting between the forts on plain roads and then quickly climbing 5 to 10 forts in a single day. Where did I get all the trails to do this Alpine style, basically without a local guide, going fast by myself? So I made use of OpenStreetMaps. In OpenStreetMaps, the hiking routes are tagged as waymarked trails. Here is the URL, hiking.waymarkedtrails.org, from where you can get a clear view on national, intercontinental, regional, and local trails. You can browse any part of the country, get a list of trails here, hiking rates, click on any trail to get all the details like distance, elevation gain, elevation profile, and download a GPS log to find your way. For navigation, I use an app called OpenStreetMap for Android, available also on iPhone, which gives me offline OSM-based maps with offline contours, which I would overlay then with those GPS logs of the 200 forts that I downloaded, allowing me to completely proceed independently without local guides and also without mobile network. I was going fast and very lightweight. Being an ultra runner, I am pretty fast. The calves and the quads are pretty strong. I just carried only 2 kilograms in my bag with a minimalistic shelter, just a BV, a mat, and a blanket or a light sleeping bag. No food, no water was carried, which was all taken along the way in the villages. Single dress for those 2 months. Night stay again was mostly in villages, also once in a while to see the beautiful sunrise and sunset on top of the forts or the peaks. Very minimalist shelter here, just 500 gram BV tent in case of rain and in case of wildlife, I mean reptiles and so, and then a lightweight sleeping bag and a small tent, hardly 1.5 kilogram. Documentation was done extensively to inspire people to follow my footsteps as usual, to plus thousands of photos posted on my Instagram account on the right, and also created quite a couple of interesting webinars documenting those 14 different regions which I explored in the Sahyadri, covering those 200 forts in beautiful videos available on my blog ultrajourneys.org or my YouTube channel Van Gap, for which I will give the URL in a second. A lot of information was added in related to the geography of the forts as well as the historical background for each fort. Okay, let's take a look at the traverses. I started from Lonavala, ended up somewhere after the monsoon. Monsoon was still raging in 2018, 19, sorry, October. So took a train to Lonavala, and from there, basically, if you can see on the map here, started following the Deccan Ridge. So where basically the Deccan Plateau drops steeply down 300-400 meters to the Konkan Plains on the left. And from Lonavala, actually, this is one of the most beautiful trails that goes along this ridge, covering the forts described here on the left side, taking you all the way to Nanagat, an important trade route between the Konkan Plains and the Deccan Plateau. Stunning views, as you can see on the left side, as you move along this very remote region, inaccessible from the left because of the steepness, and mostly not very accessible from the right due to lack of infrastructure. The second route proceeded north. Further from Nanagat, I climbed up Harishchandragat, a well-known fort, and from there again through remote regions, you proceed to the Bandardara Reservoir here, one of the oldest water catchment areas of Maharashtra with an old British dam, around which you have some 10 to 12 beautiful peaks and forts, including AMK and of course the highest, Kalsubai, listed over here. Beautiful picture here taken at the pinhole of Ratangat. The third transit route, I descended towards just east of Mumbai, Mataram. Let me move the video window up. Here you can see the Mataram range, where you have various well-known forts here. Here you can see a beautiful picture from the top of Nakind, where you can see in the background typical skyline of Chanderi Fort. So starting again from actually Lonavala, I came down after visiting Rajmachi to Songiri Fort on the top right. From there, sorry, bottom right, from there climbed up to Mataran, from where you have a continuous ridge line towards Vitikan Pep, Nakin, Chandri. Beautiful traverse again, after the monsoon quite dense. Then you come down and go around to towards Tahuli, Pajpir, Shankar. Coming down again on the other side, the west here, you have Kalavan, Tindur, Prabhalghat, and Ishragat. Again, connected interior to beautiful trails. From Ishalghat again, you can directly connect through trails all the way to Mataram. Very beautiful traverse here, very convenient as it's close to Mumbai. One of my favorites, the fourth trans route running that I was running between the forts was Pune to Mahabaleshwar. So starting in the from Pune here, covering Singhat to Rajghat to Torna. From Torna you have a beautiful ridge line that gets you to Lingana, the famous prison. From there you get down, a bit lesser known this gully to get down. From there you go to the capital of Raighat, and then proceeding to the north of Mahabaleshwar. Various beautiful forts there like Kaplia, Mohanghat, Mangalghat, Mahandev Mahir, Chandraghat, very interior. And then you climb up to the Arthur Seat of Old Mahabaleshwar. Dense jungles here, one of my favorite regions, I would say, to eventually swim through one of these lakes, origin of the Kaveri River, Dome Lake, towards Raireshwar, where Chatrapati Shivaji Maharaj took the oath at a young age to defend his homeland from invaders. After running between these 50 first forts, I did the remaining 50 forts in 10 regions, commuting with a bike from a good friend Kedar in Pune. Started fully north of Nasik. You have the Ajanta Satmal range, perfect candidate for a long weekend to simply cover some 12 to 15 forts in a single shot with minimal travel. Ankai Tankai, Katrai, Chantwat, etc., proceeding right east to west. You have this entire range of forts located on a single mountain range, basically. Here you can see in the background the beautiful Dolab fort where I camped and was treated on a beautiful sunset. Second region further north of Ajanta Satmal, you have the Selbari, Dolbari ranges, further north of Nasik. Here you have Selbari. North of Nasik, you have some of the highest forts in the Sahyadri, including Saler and Salota. Pictures here. Here you have Salota, where I'm standing with a picture of, Saler and Salota. Salota, where I'm standing and looking towards Saler, the highest fort in Maharashtra, somewhere in November, not too green, not too dry. And then proceeding further in the Dolbari ranges further north, you have a lot of forts here. Less, some of these are not really forts, more lookout posts, but also really beautiful, unique each and every one of them. Third region was to come a little bit south, west of Nasik, where you have the Trimbak range, famous for Brahmagiri especially, and Harihar, pictured here. Very steep entrance, very majestic entrance. But then all the other beautiful jewels are hidden there, like, for example, Rasgat, very close to Harihar, very less visited, not easy accessible, but really a beautiful entrance staircase, as well as the high hill of Utwat. Coming a bit south then of Nasik, towards the Kalsubai range, where we have, again, AMK here, and Kalsubai. A little bit north of that, you have the Kalsubai range, which has some 10, maybe a bit lesser known forts. Here you can see a picture of Tringalwadi with a beautiful hand-carved cave, big cave inside, hand-carved ornaments in the ceiling of the cave. And a couple of lesser known forts like Onda, Ant, Dubera, Songat, Parvatgat, also worth exploring. Not too far located away from each other, so can be done in a long weekend in one single shot. Fifth one is then Harishandraghat, not the fort, but the Harishandraghat Wildlife Reservoir, located to the southwest of the Pimpalgaon Dam. So there again, here you have Harishandraghat. To the east of that, of this fort, you have this wildlife range. A bit difficult to access, pretty remote here. Roads are not that good, but you have some really beauties there. Like, for example, close to Harishandraghat, pictured here, we have a fort that looks like the shape of an elephant seen from the base, called Kunjarghat. Sixth region, more known because of some touristic forts and proximity to Lonavala, is just the range around the two beautiful lakes of Pauna and Taminigat, where you have a lot of forts here that protected ancient trade routes between the Konkan Plains and the Deccan Plateau, including Vizapur, Lohagat, Tikona, Tung, Morgiri, Korigat, a couple of lesser known ones like Gangat and Gongat, Kailash Gatker, one of the original candidates of the capital of Chatrapati Shivaji's kingdom. If we proceed then to Mumbai, south of Mumbai again, we have a couple of maybe lesser known forts here. Here you see a picture of the majestic Dera Surgat fort, pretty close to Mumbai, as well as a couple of other ones. Again, pretty in good proximity, a little bit interior, as well as some on the coastline, which are really worth visiting. Proceeding then north to Mumbai, again, just inside, inland, a little bit away from the coastline, lookout post probably for the coastal regions, including the one portrayed here, which is Tahuli, which was manned by Chatrapati Shivaji's father, I believe. Beautiful forts, again, close, very conveniently close to the capital of Maharashtra. And then one of my favorite was, of course, to reach my number of 200s. I did some 30 plus forts along the Konkan coast, all the way from Mumbai to the border with Goa. You can see a big list of forts here, including some of them built on the coastline, some of them like pictured here, Suvarnadar, a little bit inside the sea, built on an island, perfect candidates for an open water swimmer like me to swim to instead of waiting for a ferry to be ready. The last region then where I got some good 35 forts was the region around Satara, a little bit south here, east of Mahabaleshwar. So less prominent forts, not as high as the one in the north in Nasik, but very interesting ones, a lot of historical ones there, shown all here. I just took out, I mean, there's too much here to show in this short presentation here. I just took one interesting one, Deetgat, with a deep water reservoir, accessible with like a staircase, almost 20 meters, so hand carved into the rocks. Voila, what's next on my roadmap for ultra journeys? Definitely coming back again to the Sahyadris, which stole my heart. Set of forts, my next mission, probably post-monsoon 2021, will be to cover 100 gullies between the Konkan Plains and the Deccan Plateau to basically get solid elevation gain. Every gully will be some 200, 300, 400 meter climb. Some of them are technical, some of them are non-technical, all the way from the Nasik side here again to Mahabaleshwar, fully along this Deccan Ridge line. So that would easily take, again, with a couple of gullies per day, hopefully 30 days, maybe a month, 1.5 months. Another interesting project as part of my ultra journeys domain is the mapping of the Western Himalayas, including on the right, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Ladakh, and Zanskar, and in here, Jammu and Kashmir, green on the left. So have extensively worked on mapping this region, which was previously mostly undocumented during the lockdown of 2020. Mapped more than 30,000 remote hamlets there, very useful for night shelter and food resupply for the Alpine style hiker. Mapped more than 75,000 kilometers of trails, just imagine, more than we can do in a lifetime, even for me as a full-time explorer. 2,000 high passes and 700 alpine lakes, all available on my website, ultrajourneys.org. Recently, I just came back from my first winter mission, 2021, 3 months across 2,000 kilometers of lesser known trails, mid-level trails between 2,500 to 4,000 meters here in Uttarakhand, the entire breadth, all the way from the Yamuna River till the border of Nepal, proceeding and getting stunning views on the various high ranges of Uttarakhand, including Bandar Punch, Gangotri, the Kamet Group, Badrinath, Nanda Devi, and the eastern Kumaon section. Covered some 110 passes here, giving me a total of 170,000 meters of elevation gain, which is around 19 times the height of Mount Everest, to give you an idea of the effort. And then next up for a week or two will be Trans-Himachal 2021. Again, 3 months into the field, exploring lesser known passes here in Himachal Pradesh this time. I've been mapping extensively this region through the Survey of India maps, as you can see, and we'll be exploring again some 100 plus passes, 1 to 2 passes per day in minimalist fast hiking style. Any questions, feel free to ask me, contact me through my blog, ultrajourneys.org, where you will find all my social handles, including YouTube, Insta, Facebook, and more. And you'll find thousands of blog posts, training materials, webinars, maps, and a lot of information basically to get started yourself, to follow my footsteps as a solo alpine style hiker. Thanks for watching this session on the Sahyadri's alpine style. Hope to see you soon in some of the other sessions or in the mountains. Chai.